On to the UK now. Once again, Rishi Sunak seemed to be in trouble. What is it this time? Well, he is facing a parliamentary probe. Why? Over his wife, Akshata Murthy's shareholding in a childcare company. It's a question of declaration of interest. Let me break it down for you. Sunak's wife owns shares in a childcare agency, Koru Kids. She became a shareholder on the 6th of March. On the 15th of March, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Jeremy Hunt, presented his 2023 spring budget. And among other things, new childcare policies were introduced. New childcare workers were given an incentive of $746. But this was doubled to nearly $1,500 under one condition, that the childminder needs to join via an agency. And guess what? Koru Kids was one of the 6 agencies involved in the scheme. Jeremy Hunt has given taxpayers' money to Akshata's company. Former Health Secretary Matt Hancock also has a stake in Koru Kids. Naturally, Rishi Sunak faced questions over the new policy. On the 28th of March, in fact, a Labour MP quizzed him asking if he had any interest to declare. And this is what Sunak replied saying, I'm quoting, "No, all my disclosures are declared in the normal way." Meaning he did not have any selfish interest to declare. And hours later, Koru Kids' bosses attended a Downing Street reception, and it doesn't take a genius to join the dots. Koru Kids would benefit from the new policy, and so would Akshata Murthy. The profit would ultimately trickle down to the Sunak family's bank accounts. If anything, the investigation is an embarrassment for Sunak. You see, he banged the drums of integrity, accountability. He made promises about maintaining transparency. And now the leader claims he has rightly declared his interests, that he has mentioned his wife's minority stake in Koru Kids. Where and how? In a list of ministerial interests that is yet to be published. So why did Sunak hush it up in front of the liaison committee? He never mentioned it when he was being grilled by the MPs. Why was he silent then? You see, he did not just omit an interest, but told the committee that he did not have one. And now, after facing the heat, he goes back on his words and says that he has declared it. Sunak and Murthy are the richest ever occupants of 10 Downing Street. Murthy's father is a co-founder of Indian IT giant Infosys. She owns about 0.9% of the company, which is worth nearly $600 million. The couple, in fact, has a history of tiptoeing around the rules. Remember how they faced criticism when Sunak was the finance minister? Murthy had a non-domiciled tax status. This meant that she did not pay tax in the UK for her earnings overseas. After public backlash and name-calling, Murthy ultimately gave up the status. She agreed to pay British tax on her global income as well. And how can we forget the Twitter storm over her $47 teacups? In other words, Sunak's list of troubles running long. We have been telling you this for a while now. The cost of living is soaring in the UK. But recently, it has reached new heights. And it's not just energy or interest rates, but the bread, the food staples, their prices have also increased by up to 80% in some British shops. According to the consumer group Which, porridge oats cost 35.5% more than they did last year. Prices for skimmed milk are up by 33.6%. Cheddar cheese the cost of which has risen by 28.3%. Butter, 23.2% more expensive. White bread, almost 22%. The analysis of the government data by Labour also found some dramatic increases. The price of carrots, for example, is up 80% since 2019. Tomatoes by 142%. Cauliflowers by a staggering 161%. So you see, these are very basic things that we are talking about. Food items that are taken for granted on the dining table elsewhere. And do you know what this means? That the poorest are being hit hardest by inflation. Because like other luxury items, food staples are not something they can cut back on. The less privileged Britons are suffering. The country is reeling with worker strikes as well. Almost 200,000 hospitals and medical procedures were cancelled last week. Why is that? Because of the junior doctor strikes. Over 27,000 staff workers refused to show up to work. Nurses are again gearing up to strike on the 30th of April. Britons are starving for essentials. And what is Sunak's government doing? Announcing childcare policies with hidden selfish interests, it seems. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.